If you thought last night's visual adventure into the world of video games was amazing, hold on to your hats. We're becoming part of the game with virtual reality tonight, live at 5.
Now, from the ATV News Center at every city and town in the Maritimes, this is the ATV Evening News, live at 5.
Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, November 16th. I'm Nancy Regan.
And I'm Paul Menu. Welcome to Live at 5. Truly a discovery show tonight, Nancy. We're going to be looking at some incredible technology that we'll all be seeing in the Maritimes fairly shortly. And it's also a good information show for parents tonight as we observe Drug Awareness Week.
I'm Sally Cummings in St. John. Would you know what a hit of acid looked like, or if your children were on drugs? We'll show you more about it coming up.
Fetal alcohol syndrome, or FAS, is the leading birth defect in North America. It happens because mothers drink during pregnancy. I'm Janice Landry. How can you help prevent FAS? Find out how later on Live at 5.
I'm Mark Miller. Cashing out early in the government's new Freedom 50 program. Response has been overwhelming. We'll tell you why. Coming up on Live at 5.
Also ahead tonight, his celebrity status in France is matched only by Madonna. But New Brunswick's Roch Voisine goes practically unnoticed here in the Maritimes. Meet a truly international singing sensation later.
And a few years ago, it was Cabbage Patch Kids. Last year, crash test dummies were the rage. So what's emerging as the hottest toy for Christmas '93? We told Randy McDonald to go play today. His story later.
That I want to see. Well, we have all this and much more ahead on the Tuesday edition of Live at 5. Before we get underway, here's Steve Murphy working on the ATV Evening News at 6. Steve.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Good afternoon, everybody. Tonight on the ATV Evening News, people who live in the tiny community of Notre Dame, New Brunswick, are shocked following the brutal slaying of a popular local teen, and now his 14-year-old girlfriend is missing. Police say she was with him at the time of the murder. The search continues. The community's in shock. The story here at 6 o'clock. Also on our broadcast tonight, layoffs at the region's biggest hospital. Dozens of people get shocks, pink slips today, and they warn the quality of your next trip to the hospital will suffer as a result of this. The story here at 6 o'clock tonight. Also, he's been a sharp critic of banks whom he charges won't do enough to help Maritimers, but a provincial cabinet minister doesn't appear to be practicing what he preaches. We'll tell you who he is and what his mortgage company is charging for a loan tonight at 6 o'clock. Right now, a first fast look at the maritime weather forecast with meteorologist Richard Zarowski in the ATV Weather Center. Richard?
Well, Steve, at first glance, it's cloudy out there, a few scattered snow flurries and cold temperatures. However, the weather picture is going to change. Surprise, surprise, and I'll have all the details coming up with the forecast later on Live at 5, Steve.
Weather inside 30 minutes, then inside 60 minutes, all the day's top stories, including the weapons of choice for real-life private eyes, men and women who work in the spying business. Tonight, we take an undercover look at the people who get paid to watch and record without you knowing it.
See an actual...
Anybody watching you? Find out tonight at 6 o'clock, right after Live at 5 with Nancy and Paul.
Thank you, Steve. First at 5 tonight, substance abuse. Parents have nightmares about their kids getting mixed up in drugs. This week, several groups in our region are kicking off campaigns aimed at keeping your children away from the drug culture. We'll tell you about that, and we'll also show you what LSD looks like these days. You'll be surprised by what you see. But first, maybe the saddest form of substance abuse, the kind that affects the truly innocent.
If you're an expectant mother or planning a pregnancy, will you drink during your pregnancy? Is it okay to have 1 or 2 drinks? Where should you draw the line? Nova Scotia health officials are warning 1 drink is too many. With just 1, you stand the chance of having a baby with fetal alcohol syndrome. ATV's Janice Landry attended a conference on FAS today and joins us now live. Janice.
Well, Nancy, many people probably assume that most women do not drink while they're pregnant, but many do. In fact, fetal alcohol syndrome is the leading birth defect in North America.
Well, it's simple. Women just stop drinking. So then the next logical step is to put all the responsibility on women and all the blame on women.
Your point about making sure that we don't begin to blame women and say, all right, it's just a matter of stopping drinking, and it's a woman's responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility.
This is a brainstorming session. These health officials are talking about how to educate people about fetal alcohol syndrome, or FAS. FAS is preventable if women don't drink during pregnancy, but they do. The people holding this conference in Halifax feel that public awareness is very important. Well, why do they feel that way? Because statistics they're revealing today show that 20 to 25% of urban pregnant women consume 1 to 2 drinks a day. That's 1 to 2 drinks a day while pregnant. Of every 1,000 babies born in Canada this year, as many as 3 will have fetal alcohol syndrome because their mothers drank during pregnancy. FAS causes severe facial deformities, like slanted eyes or a flattened nose. It can also cause internal damage, like severe heart defects and a small brain. On average, FAS children have learning disabilities, and there is no medical cure.
So it's not clear that 1 glass or 10 glasses, there's no fine line there to draw.
No, there's no fine line at all. And as a matter of fact, that's a good thing, because if you start saying, well, you can have 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, then you get into a numbers game.
This nurse works with teens in junior high schools. She says her first pregnancy was unplanned, and that caused her great concern.
When the doctor finally told me that, yes, I definitely was pregnant, I was very worried because you can't remember what you did back 3 months ago.
Wondering if she had a drink during that time.
So did you worry through the rest of your term then to find out how the baby was going to be?
No, I didn't, because there again, it isn't going to happen to me. You know, there isn't anything that's going to be wrong with my baby.
And of course, denial is a big part of the problem in fighting FAS. Many women trying to convince themselves that if they drink during pregnancy, that it won't negatively affect their baby. Paul?
Yeah, but the evidence seems to be quite the opposite. What is the bottom line then, Janice, for women to avoid fetal alcohol syndrome?
Well, the health officials I was talking to today, Paul, say that, you know, better safe than sorry. Don't drink if you're planning a pregnancy, if you are pregnant, or if you're breastfeeding. Paul?
Good advice, Sarah. Thank you, Janice Landry, reporting live in Halifax. Nancy?
You know, Paul, we don't seem to hear terms like the war on drugs or see those dramatic television ads as much anymore, but the drug problem certainly hasn't gone away. ATV's Sally Cummings is standing by live in St. John tonight, where residents were complaining about the drug problem just last night. Sally.
That's right. Residents were complaining to City Council last night that at their North End housing co-op that they're afraid to come out of their homes at night because people are dealing drugs on their doorsteps. So these are the types of things that organizations are trying to make people aware about this week during National Drug Awareness Week.
And when I woke up with a hangover, pop a few pills. It would help carry on longer on your drugs and you wouldn't get so sick. And I'd done that for a number of years and I got hooked to the pills. And during the later years of my drinking career, I went to cocaine, IV drug user.
A lifetime of alcohol and drug abuse cost Paul Foley 2 marriages and almost his life.
I had a son who started using when he was 11. He experimented with many, many other drugs, but his drug of choice was alcohol.
This woman, who we'll call Anne, had to kick her son out of her home because he was out of control. They got through it, but like many parents, she had no idea what kind of trouble he'd gotten into. Parents are shocked at the incredible array of drugs available, many targeted at young children.
Seeing LSD shaped like Superman, that's quite scary. It really is.
My son would go for that. Yeah.
Without knowing what it was.
Yeah, he's 3.5. He loves Superman.
I seen Nash one time ago in Charlottetown. I seen a couple of kids with us.
You could really entice a small child with something like that, and that's scary. I think that all the parents should know that things like that are available and educate.
Alternatives to drug use are being presented to teens as part of National Drug Awareness Week. This martial arts display over the noon hour today seemed to interest many local youth.
So do you think activities like this are a good idea?
Oh yeah, it keeps the kids involved and stuff. Keeps them out of trouble.
Demonstrations like this are being held in malls around the region this week to raise awareness of drug abuse.
24 hours, yeah, that's the kids' hotline.
Information tables have also been set up to answer questions about drug addiction and outline services where people can get help.
All kids are at risk. It's not just the kids from lower socioeconomic classes. And I think as parents, we need to be aware of that and to start drug education really early.
Now, Nancy, groups like PRIDE, which stands for Parent Resources Institute for Drug Education, stress the importance of having good role models. And a good example is here in St. John, where the Flames hockey team are very big against, promoting against drugs.
And Sally, it seems like it's getting easier to find help these days for this problem.
It seems to be, as Paul Foley said in my report, there are more services and groups available than ever before, and all you have to do is ask for help. And there are two basic things that you should do if you're looking for help. Gain information, learn as much as you can about the effects of drugs and alcohol, and secondly, break the silence, talk to people about it, go to those support groups and get help.
All right, thank you, Sally. ATV Sally Cummings in St. John tonight. Paul.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Well, this week, both young people and old people alike are being urged to come together to combat drug abuse. And in Cape Breton, some interested people have come together to make a music video. It highlights the theme of this week, drug awareness. ATV's Greg Boone has the story for us.
The drug awareness theme is Together We Make the Difference. It's highlighted in a music video public service announcement that was produced locally under the sponsorship of Cape Breton's Drug Dependency Services. 150 people, including area musicians, video producers, a recording engineer, and a local school choir participated.
Just don't walk into a studio.
So we thought we were just going to sing it a couple times and then go, but sing it about 100 times, I think. I was really nervous, like scared I was going to do something wrong and they were taping. It was a lot of hard work at the studio and had to do it over and over again.
The young singers experienced the thrill of a professional recording session, but more importantly, they understand the message.
All kinds of kids can learn to say no to drugs and not be afraid to say no to drugs. I think it's really good because I think if we all work together, we can beat drugs.
Musician and composer Dave Burke wrote the theme song's lyrics and music. He's done other drug awareness tunes before and says he hopes it's having a positive impact.
Well, I've seen so much drug abuse and alcohol abuse while I was playing that I've seen so many lives destroyed, and I just wanted to help other people avoid those pitfalls.
Greg Boone, ATV News.
You certainly can't go wrong going to Cape Breton for a project like that with all of the talent up there.
Certainly not.
Coming up on Live at 5, early retirement. Soaring deficits are forcing governments to offer special packages to civil servants and in order to cut back on the workforce and quite obviously costs as well. What would you do if someone offered you early retirement?
Paul will also meet two early retirees who have found a whole new lease on life, a frustrating finish or new beginnings when we return.
Making plans for your future? Your first step, a university education, graduation, then your career. But wait, now you're tied down with debts and loans. Maybe you could have avoided this. This number is the key to your freedom. Student Scholarship Services of Canada offers you access to thousands of potential scholarships and bursaries throughout Canada. You can't lose. We guarantee our services. For a free information package, call Student Scholarship Services of Canada, 1-800-461-9559.
If you've been thinking about ordering cable service, hold on to your hat. Your maritime cable operator brings you a world of entertainment, action, drama, news, movies, music, comedy, education. You name it, we've got it. Now, for a limited time only, you pay just $9.95 for installation, and your maritime cable operator pays the taxes. Call your maritime cable operator today before this offer stops.
Big weekend ahead. what to wear. Nice. Very nice. Perfect. And in case it gets hot, yes. And for Steve. Got it all, of course.
Regent Mall. The look, the style, the center.
Well, that's the sound of a railway tie tamper being used this afternoon by a crew at the Cape Breton and Central Nova Scotia Railway. Used for track maintenance, the machine lifts the ties and the track, aligns them, and then tamps them down to keep the track in its new position. The work's being carried out at curves along the line from Truro to Sydney Mines. And speaking of work, hundreds of government employees in Nova Scotia are thinking of cashing in on that province's new early retirement program. The Nova Scotia government's trying to cut 1,400 jobs. Now, ATV's Mark Miller is standing by with more on the story. Mark, will the province be able to meet their goal with this Freedom at 50 program?
Well, Paul, it doesn't look like they will have too much trouble. Interest in this is very, very high. Of course, they are moving the retirement age from 55 down to 50, and that is coming as a pleasant surprise to many long-time employees.
Probably learn to play the guitar, which I've been fooling around with just a little bit in the past year or so.
In the office towers, in the cubicles, many government employees who thought they would be counting the years are now counting the weeks to retirement. Sharon Brain is only 50. She was expecting to spend the next 5 years in this office before reaching retirement age.
When I first came, it was 65, and then it was down to 60. And then about 5 years ago, it went down to 55. And I thought, oh boy, I only got 5 years left, or 6 years left at this point, when they started talking about this other one coming out. And then I started thinking, well, here, maybe I can retire a lot earlier than that even, and here it is.
The retirement age was dropped to get rid of jobs. The province hopes to save $125 million in the long run.
I can't imagine anybody turning it down.
At the Nova Scotia Government Employees Union, the phones are busy. Callers want to know more about Freedom 50. Steve McDonald has taken dozens of calls. As governments work to cut jobs of higher-paid long-term employees, economists predict private companies may be forced to do the same by dropping retirement ages.
The private sector would also have to come up with the same sort of funds that are required in order to make this program work. As you know, the Public Services Union is coming up with some money, and the government is providing a sweetener.
And that government sweetener that they're providing, Nancy, is about $66 million. Now, the government hopes to save $125 million in the long run. And if that kind of money is available in the private sector, then private companies may go this route and drop retirement ages to 50 to cut their staffs. Now, other provinces are looking at Nova Scotia's lead on this one, just like Nova Scotia looked to Ontario when they launched the furlough program a while ago.
Interesting stuff. Thanks, Mark. ATV's Mark Miller in Halifax. You know, for some people, retiring early can be a difficult and trying experience. There is sometimes financial uncertainty, and if the retiree is forced out, it can be a blow to the ego. But as Mark showed us, for some people, the change turns out to be an extremely positive experience. ATV's Connell Smith is standing by, and Connell, you've been talking today to people who have put their experience to work.
I have, Nancy. There are a lot of people out there who have started businesses after retiring early, or being forced out of the job for one reason or another, possibly downsizing. I talked today with some people who are enjoying great success and who are anything but retired.
Jack McMaster owns and operates St. John's only Subway franchise. 3 years ago, he was let go from his position as sales manager at a local manufacturer. Within 7 weeks, he'd purchased a franchise and found himself working harder than ever.
I'd say for the first 6 or 8 months, I was working about 80 hours a week.
He's now planning a second outlet and anticipates more down the road.
Fortunately, it turned out very, very well for me. It was just a brand new door opened, and it's worked out extremely well. I mean, somebody did me a favor, as it turned out to be.
McMaster claims he's having fun. His son has now joined him in the business. Bill Burke is also keeping busy. He and a partner own Burwood Associates.
But you wonder where the day went, where the hours went.
Burke retired at 60 from the phone company. He had been anticipating operating this marketing, planning, and consulting business. He has no regrets.
Oh, very well. Like any business consulting, it comes in spurts. It's not as steady as maybe you'd like to see it, but we've been able to do a few fairly large jobs and quite a few small ones, too.
It is easy if you have the right attitude about it.
Leo McVeigh is a semi-retired human resources consultant. He teaches seminars to men and women who are being retired early by their employers.
Absolutely, there's no question about it. Old dogs can be taught new tricks. You can learn many new things. And many of these people who are coming out into early retirement and starting a new career, they are some of your better people because they're mature, they're stable, they lose less time on the job.
McVeigh says the proper attitude is the key. Those who make the adjustment quickly and successfully are often those who look upon change as an opportunity. Now, Nancy, a lot of people are not happy with starting a business. It's a very risky undertaking. And if they have the mortgage paid off and they have some savings, a lot of people are quite content to take a job with less pay or to take a part-time job and get along quite well that way. I talked to one gentleman who retired from the phone company who has a home renovation business, and he goes down to Florida in the winter for a few weeks, and he's enjoying himself.
Now that sounds good. Thanks, Connell. ATV's Connell Smith in St. John tonight. Paul.
All right, thank you, Nancy. And still ahead on Live at 5, we're going to meet a young maritimer who is a megastar in Europe. But would you recognize him if he walked down your street? We're going to take you face-to-face with Roch Voisine when we return.
Remember these words as they show just how much I care. Don't you know I'll always be there.
In order to make sure the interior of our new Chevy S Series would fit a wide range of people, I designed the seats.
And I designed the interior to give it more room than it's ever had before.
And both of us are very comfortable with that arrangement.
The 94 Chevy S Series. So new from the inside out. Everything else is history.
Young man, have you seen this? Why, it's enough to put even me in the Christmas spirit.
What is it, sir? A newspaper?
Look at all these great gifts. And with Canadian Tire's guaranteed low prices, why, even I approve.
Is it a brochure?
No.
A magazine?
No. Here, have a look.
It's a flyer.
Look for the Canadian Tire Weekly Christmas Flyer. Canadian Tire lets you give like Santa and save like Scrooge.
Stupid. Boring. Rerun.
Wait, stop.
What? Oh, that looks good.
I want it.
Wow, tender Arby's roast beef.
Oh, I can't watch anymore.
Oh, looks delicious.
Oh, honey, I'm not watching.
An onion roll.
Okay, I'm watching. What did I miss?
Don't worry, I taped it.
The delicious beef and cheddar sandwich, curly fries, a taste sensation combination. The beef and cheddar and curly fries, only at Arby's, where different is good.
Yeah, I saw it this morning. Great job.
Good morning.
Go ahead and kick it. I'll watch. Don't kick me hurt.
The Halifax Police Department got an early Christmas present today. Atlantic Acura donated this new squad car to the HPD. It'll be used as a community constable's vehicle in the city's Alpha Zone.
Hey, pretty sharp. They'll make quite an
Good
impression
day.
driving around in that thing, I guess, huh? Well, no milestones today. I guess nobody in the Maritimes got married today, or
I don't think that's it.
They didn't tell us about it. We are, as you know, happy to announce marriage milestones of 50 years, 60 years or more, and birthdays of 100 years or more. Simply send us the details along with a clear color picture, 5 by 7 inches, in a self-addressed stamped envelope with sufficient postage, if you'd like that photo back, and mail it to us here at Live at 5, P.O. Box 1653, Halifax, Postal code is B3J2Z4. Unfortunately, we're not accepting birthday or anniversary announcements over the phone or at any of our ATV bureaus in the region, so please use the mail system on that.
All right, try this for size. Women in France are considered by many to be true experts on the subject of romance and love, right?
Sure, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, did you know the man they consider to be the most romantic artist in France is a Canadian? In fact, he's from New Brunswick. And no, it's not Paul Meunier.
I knew you'd say that. Of course it isn't, folks. Roch Voisine is an example of a musician who finds fame abroad before he ever becomes a true celebrity at home. He is a well-established megastar in Europe and Quebec, but now he's focusing his attention on audiences right across Canada. He's here in the Maritimes on a promotional tour, and Nancy caught up with him today.
Roch Voisine, he's, I have no idea. Could you tell me who?
Roch Voisine? No. Who is he?
Do you know who Roch Voisine is?
No, never heard of him.
Do you know who Roch is?
Me and Roch are like this. No, I don't know who Roch is.
It's obvious that Roch Voisine could probably walk down this maritime street without being recognized, yet on the Champs-Élysées in Paris, he is mobbed by adoring fans. If you don't know him, I'm about to introduce you to Roch Voisine.
You and I follow the trace laid by people of faith and bright with hungry eyes.
And this is Roch Voisine in the flesh. It's been a long time since you lived in Saint-Basile. Does the maritime region still feel like home to you, Roch?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've spent 13 years there, and I got to visit my grandparents and my family on my mother's side, and they're from Moncton.
Do you still have relatives in New Brunswick?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to say hello to them? I think you'd better.
Yeah, I better. I haven't been there for a while. I remember being in Moncton about, I would say, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
At a concert, and my mother called me and she said, I need tickets for the family. So you figured, yeah, okay, well, I can get you tickets. I said, how many? So she goes, well, 95.
You have a wonderful voice. I don't mean to gush, but that's what I think, and obviously a lot of other people do. Why is it that European fans realize this so much more quickly than Canadians?
I think there's a good explanation for this. The first official albums I came out with were French.
They're French.
So the French audience in Canada caught on very, very quickly.
In Quebec, no question.
Yeah, and people from France got a hold of the album. It was Hélène at the time. Basically brought it over there, and next thing I had 500,000 sold in a couple of months, and I had to go over there. That's why I've been spending like the last 3 years over in Europe.
What's the secret ingredient to your success? And will it translate to English? It certainly seems well on its way.
It is translating. What is it? It's a lot of things at the same time. And you need everything to make it today. You know, you need a good song. You need a good image. You need to work hard. You need a good team. You need luck. And you need to have this certain capacity of making magic.
And Roch Voisine seems to have it all.
You and I have written the book, line by line, the few things it took to survive was your loving heart and mine.
Boy, he sounds good, doesn't he?
Yeah, seems like a really nice guy, too.
He was,
Sitting
certainly.
there in the old lumber jacket, lumberman's jacket there,
Yeah.
downtown. Great.
I'll Always Be There is his new CD, and his promotional tour across the country seems to be working. It's already double platinum.
Wow.
After 4 weeks after release.
Fantastic.
Not bad.
Well, lots more still to come on the Tuesday edition of Live at 5, including Richard Zarowski's complete maritime weather forecast.
And we also have these stories still ahead.
I'm Yvonne Colbert on your side. This homeowner paid $750 for her new driveway in August, but already weeds are popping through. Her story's coming up later on Live at 5.
I'm Star Dobson in Halifax. Coming up on Live at 5, we'll take a look at what's coming our way in the not-so-distant future. To be virtually surprised, stay tuned.
I'm Randy McDonald in Sydney.
You're super duper.
Meet my talking buddy, Barney. Barney's one of the hottest products of the year. We'll take a look at the upcoming toy season, coming up on Live at 5.
Please hug me again.
Sure. And just a little later, what in heaven's name is this guy up to? We'll tell you when Live at 5 returns.
Nausea. When it's caused by the flu, often you don't feel like taking even enough liquid to swallow a pill. That's why there are Gravol chewable tablets. No liquids, just effective relief from nausea. Trust Gravol. Ask your pharmacist.
Honda introduces a safe place to keep your valuables. The all-new 1994 Accord. 3 years ahead of its time for passenger safety. Totally redesigned with more power, more comfort, and sweeter handling. A winning combination at $322.28 per month at your Atlantic Honda dealer. You've never put your valuables in a safer, more beautiful place.
Margolians, famous for value, low prices, brand names, famous for their 20% sales.
Save 20% off every item in every department during Margolian's spectacular anniversary celebration. 20% off regularly priced items, 20% off sale items, 20% off everything.
Margolians, famous for value, famous for low prices, famous for brand name clothing and footwear for men, women, and children. Margolians, our values are famous.
Great. You're determined to quit smoking. But not when you're swamped at work. Then certainly not while you're on vacation. And not on your birthday. Or on the weekend. And definitely not now. That is the worst time. Finally, there's Nicorette, 2 milligram nicotine chewing pieces to help control your cravings by slowly weaning you off nicotine. Prescribed for years by doctors, it's now available without a prescription. Ask your pharmacist for Nicorette. Don't put it off. Break it off. For more information, call this number.
Have you discovered multigrain Cheerios?
Multigrain. Wouldn't like it.
It's interesting.
But they gotta be heavy. Light, crispy.
Just a little bit sweet. 4 different kinds of those.
Discover the taste of multigrain Cheerios.
What are you staring at? Go try it.
Well, a number of Montrealers awakened with a jolt early today. An earthquake measuring 4.4 on the Richter scale rolled through a 60-kilometer region around the city at about 4:30 this morning. Sounded like an explosion, according to witnesses, but there were no reports of injuries or damage.
Did you know there are, on average, 1,500 earthquakes in Canada every year?
Yeah, this is fascinating.
That's a lot of shaking.
Interesting stuff.
About 50 are in the moderate to strong category. The most recent moderately strong quake in a populated area, 1988, when residents of Chicoutimi felt a 6 on the Richter scale. The most dramatic quakes in our recorded history, an 8.3 on BC's Queen Charlotte Islands. That was back in 1949. And in 1929, Newfoundland's Burin Peninsula was struck by a 7.2. It set off a giant wave. 27 people drowned. Here in the Maritimes, a quake occurs every 2 to 3 days, but they're generally too slight to be felt.
Yeah, fascinating. Every 2 or 3 days, we have an earthquake down here. Something else, huh, Richard?
Yeah, really something else. Now, as far as the weather goes, if the sky's clear for tonight, Paul, we have the Leonid meteor showers. If you're interested in that, just take a look out to the southeast. In our studio, southeast is over that way. Anytime after midnight till about 6 in the morning. Should be a pretty good presentation of meteors if you happen to like them. And we're kind of hoping the skies do start to clear. Right now, we got some cloud over the maritime regions, but that's starting to dissipate. Wind is starting to die down. And, of course, the area of high pressure is going to become our weather maker. And we're looking at a kind of a cold night tonight. The good news is we don't have to worry about things like wind chill or scattered snow flurries and things like that, because as the wind dies down, that sort of activity settles down. Again, one low pressure off to the east, the other one brewing south of the Great Lakes in between that area of high pressure. And, of course, we're looking at a northerly flow. This is what a close-up view of the picture shows. You can see a fair amount of low cloud right across the maritime region, but that clearing edge starting to move close to the New Brunswick-Maine border. As far as temperatures go, daytime highs remain on the cold side, -3 to +5 degrees. Of course, that's to be expected at this time of year. Now, for tonight, we're going to get rid of the remainder of the cloud by midnight so that we get a chance to see the meteor showers. Going to push that out to the east. Temperatures will be between -2 and -5 degrees in New Brunswick. Out to the east, -2 to the freezing mark. No place in the Maritimes really reporting plus temperatures at all. By the wee hours of the morning, we're also looking at sunshine as well. As far as systems go, looking at a trough of low pressure by tomorrow evening, up in through the northern areas of Labrador, through Newfoundland, and right along the Atlantic seaboard. Good news is that we're switching the flow from the northwest through to the west, and then into the southwest. So we're looking at the start of a low-pressure disturbance moving up along the eastern seaboard, which by the evening should be bringing an advancing cloud through the maritime region. So we'll start off with some sunshine, but there you can see that disturbance moving through, and then we're also looking at the scattered showers by the evening across the map. Temperatures are going to be steady around 6 degrees in through New Brunswick. By the afternoon, mainly cloudy conditions there, 6 to 7 degrees out to the east, and along the mainland of Nova Scotia, temperatures will be steady between 6 and 8 degrees. And again, the sunshine will be there, but by the evening, the cloud will have rolled through. Now, as far as the rest of the weather picture goes, for the rest of the week, we can expect to see our probability of sunshine is not too bad for tomorrow, around 90%, so definitely we'll see some sunshine there. For Thursday and Friday, though, with this disturbance rolling in, we're looking at a 50% probability of sunshine, and then by Saturday, the probability of sunshine, Nancy and Paul, goes down to 10%.
Ooh, 10% on Saturday, not so good.
Yeah, that's the way the sun goes.
Well, still to come on Live at 5, what's hot on the Christmas toy list this season? We sent Randy McDonald on a shopping spree to find out.
Oh, and virtual reality, some of the wild games that you and I will soon be playing in our arcades around the region. And when we return, Yvonne Colbert on your side tonight, pounding the pavement.
The grass and the weeds started coming through, and I would pound them down and spray them and pound them down again and spray them again. And that was the only way I could keep them down, but it seemed like every few days there were new eruptions of grass or weeds.
Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to Bakersville?
Sure. Take 23 north to M34 east to I-14 south, and you're there.
Thanks.
You bet.
Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to Bakersville?
Head right over those mountains.
Thanks.
I'm going up to the Lotto 649 booth.
You play on Wednesdays?
Yes, and Saturdays. Twice a week, twice the chances.
I see your point. Especially when it's that great place for sale off the highway, right beside the ocean. What a view. Except when the fog rolls in. But why move when you can renovate your way to perfection? A 649 ticket, please. I just got inspired.
Lotto 649. Everybody's got a dream.
The shocking truth about electricity. Machines and equipment are essential, but when combined with power lines, can be deadly. Before digging or operating equipment, contact your local electric utility. They can tell you where underground power lines are located. Don't let this happen to you. A safety message from your electric utility.
Do you have a future in your job? It's estimated that 1,000 new truck drivers will be in demand in Atlantic Canada every year until the year 2000. Now's the time to open the doors to your future with the help of GW Driver Training School. Our certified instructors will teach you the skills necessary to become a professional on the road all year round. The trucking industry needs you now. Call GW Driver Training School today.
Scariest thing I have ever done in my
How do you feel?
Absolutely terrified. I've got to go back and do it again.
I don't think so. Look up, way up, and you'll see Ian Ashpole. This Englishman has a penchant for living on the edge, literally. He recently bungee jumped from 10,000 feet. Well, this high wire act is a pretty good follow-up, I'd say. Question is, what will he come up with next? We'll try and keep you posted. Yvonne Colbert is standing by with ATV on your side, but first here's Steve Murphy working on the ATV Evening News at 6. Steve.
Okay, now it's coming up in 22 minutes on the evening news. A frantic search for 14-year-old Marshall LeBlanc after the brutal murder of her boyfriend. Dozens and dozens of searchers are combing the dense woods near Notre Dame, New Brunswick. We have 2 ATV news teams there. We have 2 stories coming up on what is going on and community reaction to it here at 6 o'clock. Also at 6, remembering Casey Irving. Why an anti-poverty group in the Maritime says no to the proposed site where the statue is supposed to go. Is the proposed monument to the late billionaire an affront to the poor? The story at 6 o'clock. Also, the weapons of choice for real-life private eyes. Yes, that's a private eye putting a camera in a ceiling. Only way to know if it's there is to go check. And tonight, we have our eyes on private eyes. Question is, do they have their eyes on you? Story's here at 6 o'clock, Paul.
Didn't think that kind of stuff existed. We'll be watching for that. Thanks, Steve. Time now for ATV on your side with Yvonne Colbert. And tonight, we're literally pounding the pavement. Yvonne?
Well, that's what one woman, Paul, has been doing in recent weeks in an effort to get rid of the weeds that are growing through her new driveway.
It's this way all the way up.
But it's been out on the main part of your driveway too, huh?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
The problem Sharon Kirkpatrick is talking about is one of weeds and grass growing up through the new driveway that cost her $750.
The work was done August the 11th. It was done very, very quickly. I never had any problems until September. And the grass and the weeds started coming through, and I would pound them down and spray them and pound them down again and spray them again. And that was the only way I could keep them down. But it seemed like every few days there were new eruptions of grass or weeds.
The asphalt was laid by a business called M&A Paving Company. Sharon was told it would be 4 inches thick, but her measurement of it amounts to only 1.5 inches, and her attempts to reach the owner had failed. So you tried calling many times and just wasn't able to get a hold of him?
Many times, or the messages that I left, they weren't answered. He never responded to any telephone calls that I left on his answering machine.
At one point, the owner did stop by to suggest spraying and top coating, but only if Sharon agreed to split the cost. With a 3-year guarantee, she declined that offer and contacted On Your Side. No sooner had we arrived to check out her driveway than company president Minus Willis arrived too.
My goodness, where'd you come from?
Oh, someone pick me on TV.
Are you Mr. Willis?
Yeah, don't put me on TV.
Mr. Willis didn't want to appear on camera, but he did agree to remedy the situation. So you will top coat it without any cost?
Without any cost, no.
So by next Friday it should be done then? He's assured you that he will do this by next Friday. Do you expect the work will be done now?
I hope so. I really hope so. I think that he wants to keep his good reputation. He's got several contracts in the area, and I do believe that he wants to improve his relationships with everyone. And he will if he, repairs the driveway.
Sharon looked genuinely surprised there when he showed up on the scene.
She was. She's been trying to contact this man since September and found it rather ironic that he happened to show up. What had happened was some of his workers had gone by, seen us examining the pavement. He was working just up the road, so he came down to check out the situation. Now, his company is a fairly new company. I checked with the Registry of Joint Stocks. They are able to do business. They have what is required to do business in Nova Scotia. They just started operation in the spring, so the Better Business Bureau doesn't really have any record on them. They had applied to become a member of the Bureau, but the Bureau requires companies to be in operation and have some sort of track record before they can become a member. So it's next Friday, and we'll keep you posted and let you know whether Sharon gets her driveway fixed.
Okay. Any other story ideas you might have for us on your side? Here's how you can get a hold of Yvonne.
You can give us a call. The area code is 902. The number is 493-3404, and leave a brief message on the machine. Or you can write P.O. Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J2Z4.
Thanks, Yvonne.
You're welcome.
Nance?
Thanks, guys. Up next on Live at 5, we'll peer into the near future. Virtual reality is ready to start competing for your entertainment dollar. But are you ready for this technology?
There's a time in every parent's life that they wish would never come. That moment when you realize they're going to do things on their own. That point when you're not always going to be included. And all you can do is love them enough to just trust them.
Dad!
Hey, where you going?
Nowhere special, just a walk.
Come on. I'll give you a ride.
Dad, do you think Mom will like them?
It's in the smile, in the hands, the good things that come from the land, the way that we care, the way that we share. It's part of the touch, it's in the food that makes us grow. The people we come to know, right from the start, it comes from the heart, and it's called the touch. Yes, it's called the touch.
As most everyone knows, moving is a lot of work. But moving your whole house, well, that's a really big job. This is the first of 2 houses being moved, lock, stock, and barrel on Allen Street in Charlottetown. And tomorrow morning, if all goes well, it'll be towed across the street onto a new lot. The big red house next door will be jacked up and moved early next month.
Be careful of the china.
Yeah.
Well, as technology continues...
Tape everything down, I think.
I think so. As technology continues to expand, so do the boundaries which limit reality. This means we're constantly exploring new scientific avenues, many of which are geared towards entertainment. As we heard last night, video games are big business, and the industry's growing at an amazing rate.
Tonight in part 2 of our series, ATV star Dobson takes a look at what's coming our way in the not-so-distant future.
The sky's the limit. Technology is growing in leaps and bounds.
Today's technology, there's really nothing that can't be done. And it's just moving at an incredible pace.
Many of the video games available today have been hits at the box office. If a movie does well, it's almost guaranteed to become a game. But in the future, we're not only going to see movies transformed into games, but games will also become more like the movies.
You will have not only great video games, but outstanding, stunning graphics. The graphics that have been associated in the minds of consumers with Jurassic Park or the Terminator 2 movies. Silicon Graphics is the world's leading 3D graphics technology company.
More realistic graphics are now available. The clunky game cartridges of the past are pretty well becoming extinct.
With CD-ROM video games, more people that might not have been interested before are just going in spades.
CD-ROM games are the new way to go. The next logical step leads us towards total immersion.
Right now, playing a video game is like standing on the outside looking in, but all of that's soon going to change. Virtual reality will be hitting the arcades within a year, and then we'll actually feel like we're inside the game participating. In this case, it would be like sitting in this race car roaring down the track.
For the time being, though, games like this one will have to suffice. Virtual racing is now the closest thing to virtual reality available in our region.
That's in the range of probably $15,000. You know, so it's quite an investment in equipment, and you know, it takes a while to pay for it.
A lot of quarters.
A lot of quarters, yeah. But it's a lot of fun to play.
Okay, we're off to the races. Woo! This is neat. You can feel the airbags pushing in on the sides whenever you turn one way or the other, and on the back.
It's trying to create armchair athletes out of all of us, and you know, let us see some of the stuff we'll never be able to do.
But it's not only virtual reality that's going to spin heads. High-tech interactive games are also sweeping the market.
I don't even know which one I am. Right, it's in the crowd. So this is a sign of things to come. We're going to see more of this in the arcades now. Actual interacting with the game.
Stuff you can't do at home.
Games like these aren't only for entertainment. Virtual reality and interactive machines are also serving as educators.
The U.S. Army does use a video simulator to train its pilots.
And the possibilities are endless.
Imagine children playing on a very, very large screen, okay? With all
all surrounding sound around them. To travel from country to country, they learn geography, they learn to make decisions, they learn to take chances.
Computer whizzes are also heating up. Right now, there are even computer programs for adults only.
Click on it, open the door, and what we find is a fantasy that is based on the style of the door that we open.
And all of this technology is well within reach. Game over. In Halifax, Star Dobson, ATV News.
The good news, as our director says, is that Star doesn't really drive like that in real life.
Well, you know, I was thinking maybe getting her some taxi chits for Christmas, and that would really be a,
right
a Christmas present to pedestrians everywhere. Whatever happened to a good book, eh? Anyway, Paul...
Great series, though. I find that really interesting.
Yeah, I know.
It's amazing what they can do, isn't it?
I know. I can actually hardly wait. Anyway, Richard Zarowski has the wake-up weather, and speaking of amazing stuff, another fascinating weather fact. That's on tap.